Welcome to another practice focusing on Sutra 227, the 7 stages of yoga. Last time we explored the 5th stage of yoga, self-realization, the awakening of our true nature as consciousness itself. So hum I am that. Hum saw, that am I. And now we arrive at the 6th stage, which is self-transcendence. To transcend means to go beyond, to surpass, to rise above the limits of the small self, the misidentified ego. And this is not about bypassing this human experience, but to embrace it fully, to reclaim our power to evolve beyond the patterns that bind us, to outshine our old false beliefs about life and ourselves, and to live from a higher intelligence that moves through us, as us, for us, and with us, to realize its presence in everything. This yoga being skill in action, held in loving awareness, and through the light of prajna, which is that light of intelligence, and listening to that innate wisdom, buddhi, that inner guide, will guide us through the 5 stages to lead us towards self-transcendence. So we work with self-awareness, self-understanding, self-acceptance, self-discipline practice, self-realization, which these stages refine us from the inside out and prepare the soil for this next blossoming, this stage of going beyond. So we come onto our mat and we go inwards, exploring the inner terrain and the landscape, and tending to our garden, pulling out the weeds and the debris, watering, germinating, planting those seeds of deep intentions, of those desires, and maintaining this inner garden so we can really thrive and bloom in this lifetime. So self-transcendence is not about leaving this world behind. It's about participating more in it consciously. So our practice becomes the invitation to move beyond the confines of our limited self, beyond the stories, the commentary, the beliefs, the biases, the conditioning, beyond karma, while rooted in the tenderness of being human. So this being human is hard, and having a disciplined practice and certain kind of ethical guidelines to kind of help us skillfully move forward, held in loving awareness. This path unfolds in stages to lead us towards that final destination of self-transformation. So first, working with our own self-awareness, to wake up, to be mindful, to be present, to be aware. Be here now. Notice the outer perm of the eyes, the lens in which you are looking through. Notice what is awake, what is always there. You may forget it, it never forgets you. And it delights when you actually wake up. And then we start to work with the 2nd stage, self-understanding. We recognize what triggers us. We notice our habitual patterns. You know the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results? Okay, is it serving us? And then we start to pause and act from conscious intention. What matters to us? What is that deep intention? What is the bigger purpose of this human experience, my life? What do I want? What do I desire? How do I do this more skillfully? So we understand ourselves and we learn to align our actions with our dharma, reinforcing this deeper purpose in every choice that we take. This understanding builds this living relationship with the higher self, guiding us to approach each moment with clarity, care, and that discernment, that viveka shakti, in that ability to practice this devoted, focused, diligent practice abhyasa, and our ability to surrender, to let go, that vairagya, detaching with love from whatever arises, seeing it, learning, understanding, trying to utilize it as much as possible, whatever comes up, and then letting it go. Through this clarity, we cultivate this lasting fulfillment within us, a deeper sense of contentment, and then even liberation from the patterns that keep us stuck in our suffering and our pain. So that third stage of yoga being self-acceptance, we start to see that from a calmer, less reactive place, we can expand our perspective, open the viewpoint a little bit wider. And we acknowledge that our shadow, our light, our creative, our destructive, the negative, the positive, the good, the bad within us, the duality is a part of the whole. And by practicing loving awareness and befriending ourselves, even when we find it really hard to be in our own skin, we smile, we find joy, we reconnect to a more compassionate, empathetic space. This is Yoga Sutra 133, that we embrace our humanity, forgive our mistakes, and nurture ourselves with more self-love. This establishes a sacred space where we can abide peacefully, fully ourselves, and we can practice more skillfully. This is the fourth stage, a disciplined practice. This empowered awareness, this realization, this loving awareness re-engages with our intention, our deeper heart's desires, those purusharthas, but also that purpose. And as we access that vast resource of energy within us, fueled by our purpose to show up in this lifetime, to act wisely, to make wise choices, that our life is not wrong. We're right where we need to be. We have this deep knowing that life is not happening to us, it's happening for us. And that we are asked to show up fully in life, to embody our unique gifts and talents and skills and insights, that we open to that fifth stage of self-realization, of realizing we are consciousness having this perfectly imperfect human experience. How messy and how beautiful and how wonderful it is, but how hard it is to be human. Here at the threshold of self-transcendence, we move beyond those limiting core false beliefs of ourselves, of others, and of life unfolding around us. And we have an opportunity to heal, to create as much pranic light and go inwards to see, to create that clarity so we can inspire ourselves, utilize that heat for positive change to help transform and surpass lessons carried from past lifetimes into this lifetime, or that the lessons that we have acquired in this one. We step into this evolutionary upgrade, unpacking karmic baggage, going, oh, that old jumper needs to be given away. Oh, those trousers don't fit anymore. So we're unpacking this karmic baggage and lightening the load. And why we're doing this is to allow the causal body to move closer towards freedom, to be lighter and freer as it has absorbed all the lessons that you have learned, and that opening to that self-realization and transcending the old habits and patterns and learning how to transform and free ourselves from rebirth, that ultimate goal of practicing yoga called kaivalya, liberation, that true awakening and enlightenment to liberate from the cycle of birth, life, and death. Now, this is not a denial of life. On the contrary, it is a celebration of being conscious. It's experiencing the beauty, the joy, the love, the fullness of existence. And we learn, we deepen our understanding, we grow, we thrive and refine these tools to allow us to navigate this life skillfully, held in loving awareness, connected to that light of intelligence and that deep wisdom within that buddhi that will then help us guide our actions. We move, we breathe, we feel, we love with clarity and purpose, that we celebrate this life as it is. And as we get on our mat in this ritual of returning back, because we are human and we have that disease of forgetfulness and we constantly forget, so we have to remember, and we have this ritual to remember to come back. Yoga reminds us that our lives are a sum total of all of our choices. We are a sum total of every choice. We are shaped by karma, the law of cause and effect. Every choice has a consequence. Every action has a reaction, this cause and effect. So I want to gift you, Gandhi summed up this teaching in a really nice, easy, pithy statement. He said that our beliefs become our thoughts become our words become our actions become our habits become our values, and our values become our destiny. So you are living your destiny right now. So as you look back, whatever you're experiencing right now, you look back and notice, what have you been valuing lately? What habits have you been reinforcing? Have your actions, your choices being guided by creative or destructive thoughts, the shadow or light side of your experience? And then starting to look at, what words have we been sharing with other people and ourselves? What thoughts have we been ruminating around? And what beliefs are we tethered to? So noticing if you have those core false beliefs that I'm not enough, I'm not smart enough, capable, successful, flexible, strong, lovable enough. Notice how that has a ripple effect on your thoughts, words, actions, happens, values to this moment. But if your core belief is that realization of not just who you are, but what you are, which is joyous, loving, and always free, that you feel safe, loved, belonging, and deeply connected, trusting, having that shraddha, that faith that over the breath of the whole entire life, it's going to be okay. And I'm here for a reason. And this deep knowing of this sacred simplicity of being alive is a gift. Notice how that has a ripple effect on your thoughts, your words, your actions, your habits, your values to this moment. So every thought, word, and action plants a seed that will eventually bear fruit. So what are you dining on? So here I'm going to offer you 3 types of karma. There's loads of descriptions of different karmas, but I like these 3 types because it's very practical in the way in which we practice Hatha yoga.